All right. Welcome to this masterclass, How to Become a High Impact Professional. My name is Jamie Smart. I'm going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff with you tonight. We're going to get it in at under an hour, and then we'll have time for Q&A if anyone's got questions. But I'm really excited to be here with you because you know what it's like. We're in January. We've all got that kind of New Year, New You stuff going on. And one of the things I'm passionate about is helping people become a high impact professional so that they're basically earning your living, making a difference in the lives of others. So we've got some great material for you here tonight. Really looking forward to sharing it with you. Really looking forward to getting your questions. So like I said, there will be a Q&A session at the end. So at any point in this, if you've got questions, just ask them, and I'll do my best to cover them when we get to the end. So I've got some slides for you. Some of them have some writing on it, which I'll read to you. Some of them have some writing on it, but mostly they're just going to be bullet points as I go through it. So, for instance, the promise for this session is you're going to learn the specific steps you need to take to become a high impact professional and create a business grounded in authenticity and service. So you can make a decent living doing what you love, making a difference to others. Now, let me start there, actually. I'm working on the basis that if you're here with me tonight, you want to make a difference to other people. So do me a favor, just let me know in the chat. Just type difference if you want to make a difference to other people. And here's why I ask you to do this. The stuff that I do is specifically aligned for people who want to make a difference, who want to give their gifts to the world, who want to have a genuine impact in the lives of others. So while there are all kinds of interesting programs out there for people who just want to make money or that sort of thing, this is all about kind of doing stuff with heart. So that's what we're going to be covering here. We're going to be looking at making a difference to others by being yourself. So yeah, Eddie says difference. Right on, Eddie. Yeah, just type difference into the chat. And the reason I ask you to type it into the chat is that's how I know whether what I'm saying is landing with you, because you can see me, but I can't see you. So yeah, just type it into the chat. So Tricia says, yes, I want to make a difference. Right on. By the way, guys, Paula as well. Hiya, Paula. Paula's typed in difference. So just let me know. And I'll be asking lots of questions as we go along. The more you're able to share with me what you're seeing, the more I'm able to serve you. So great to see people, see people here. I'm seeing some names I recognize as well, which is really nice. Now, who is this for? This session is for people who currently or aspire to make their living as a high impact professional. For instance, a coach, a consultant, a therapist, a trainer, a workshop leader, a facilitator. Basically, if you want to have a transformational impact to make a big difference in people's lives, this is for you. Whether you're already doing that work or you're working full time, like a lot of my clients, when I first start working with them, they're in the corporate world, they're working for companies, but they have this dream of making a difference to others. So it really touches my heart to see so many people typing in difference. That's great to see. By the way, the other thing I'd love to know from you guys is, where are you from? Where are you dialing in from tonight? And this is going to be relevant later on. So just type in the city or country you're in so I know where you are, because we're being joined by people from all over the world. So I'd love to know that. I love to see where people are joining me from. And still, the people are typing in difference. That's very cool to see. So I'm going to go. I've got a lot of information I want to share with you, so I'm going to move quite fast, but ask questions at any point because we will have time to cover it at the end. We've got people dialing in from London and Sheffield and Dorset, so mostly UK for the people I've heard from so far. Helen's in Dublin. Hiya, Helen. Lovely to hear from you. Ahmad's in Riyadh in Saudi. Paula's in Leeds. Graham's in Northumberland. Terry's in the US. Right on. And this is one of the things I love. Luis in Portugal. Yvette in Geneva. Right on. It's great to see people from all over the world, because one of the things I'm going to be telling you about is why the conditions are so amazing to become a high impact professional. And this is part of it, where we've moved into the metaverse effectively. We're living more and more of our lives in this online environment, and that opens up opportunities that were never there even 10 years ago. So what qualifies me to be your guide in this? Well, my name is Jamie Smart. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. So basically, I've been working as a coach, a trainer, a facilitator, a consultant, and teaching others to do the same for over 20 years. And there's all the usual credibility stuff on the screen. So I've got #1 best-selling books. I've got a Sunday Times best-selling book, results. I've been on Sky TV, breaking news, going out live to over 5 million people. I've been in newspapers and magazines and all that sort of stuff. But you know what qualifies me to be your guide more than any of that stuff? I have walked the same path that you're wanting to walk on. And I've been lucky enough to stumble across some stuff which took me, in some cases, years and years and years to figure out. And I'm going to be sharing them with you tonight. And some of these are such powerful distinctions that just touching on one of them. Anne, good morning from Sydney, Australia. Anne, I think I mentioned you in this recording. I've in my slides. I'll check later. You'll see. Lovely to have you with us. You can keep me honest. You tell everyone if I say anything that isn't true, because I'm going to tell your story. So the thing that is going to qualify me to be the thing that qualifies me to be your guide is I've walked the path that you're on, and so I figured out a bunch of the stuff that mystifies so many coaches. Like if you've been struggling to make your living as a high impact professional, as a coach, a facilitator, a consultant, or you've been having maybe doubts about the impact that you can have, or maybe wanting to charge more or make a bigger difference to people, or having free sessions where people come to the free sessions, but they don't show up with you, they don't sign up with you, or feeling nervous when it comes to talking about money or price, or dreading enrollment conversations, or not knowing how to do them, or maybe in a job where you would love to be a high impact professional, but you don't really know how to do it, or don't really know how to make that transition. This is for you. So Eddie says all of those things. All of these things are things that I meet so many coaches who struggle with this stuff. So you're in absolutely the right place. So I wanted to very quickly tell you something, which is 12 years ago, I had 3 insights. So that picture at the top there is me teaching my Clarity certification training. Before I ever even created Clarity certification, I had 3 insights. My first insight was, oh, everything you've been looking for outside of you is already there within you. Now, I'd heard that lots of times. We've all heard that. Tell me if you've heard that, like from, just say heard it. If you've heard people say that everything, the kingdom of heaven is within, or everything you're looking for is within you, or people have all the resources they need. Just type heard it if you've heard that stuff before. Because I had heard it. I'd heard all that. And I was an NLP trainer, so I acted as if that was true. But one day I went from having heard it to knowing it like I know my own name. Well, the moment I knew that to be true, once I had that realization, it changed how I related to all my goals and all my things in life. So lots of people have heard it. Second realization was the fact that a person can see or hear or feel means they have the source of resilience, realization, and transformation already there within them. They already have innate mental health and well-being. Well, I went from not knowing that, again, to knowing it like you know your own name. And that immediately massively transformed my impact with clients. And then my third insight was I realized that the stuff that I'm going to be talking to you about tonight, this is the future of psychology. This is to psychology what the discovery of germs was to medicine. And literally, that day I got a vision. I got a vision of the first generation of children born to parents who already know about this stuff. I imagined a world where the adults already know that we have this innate capacity, just like we were all born to parents who already knew about germs and bacteria. So that's my vision, is that everyone in the world is aware of their innate capacity for clarity and resilience and well-being. And how I do that, like my mission is to awaken people and help them awaken others. So that's why I'm doing this tonight. I want to awaken you and help you awaken other people. I want to support you in that journey. And I do that by helping coaches and consultants and business leaders become high impact professionals with thriving businesses, making a profound difference in the lives of others. So I'm going to tell you case studies about some of the people I've done that with. So, and the case studies are not to show off. They're to show how someone can go from exactly where you are right now to creating the kind of career and business and work and impact that they want to. It's possible, and I'll show you how. So we'll be going through all of that tonight. If you resonate with my vision, type vision into the chat, because like this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm going for it. This is why I wrote my first book, Clarity. This is why I wrote the Sunday Times bestseller, Results. It was to share this understanding with people, to wake people up to this vision. You know, when I first started on this journey, there hardly anyone knew about this stuff. There were like 30 people who even knew how to coach people in this way. And over the past decade, we've trained over 300 coaches and consultants and business leaders as certified clarity coaches to teach them how to do this stuff. That's all part of the vision. I knew we got to have a delivery capacity if we want to achieve that vision. So okay, so it really moves my heart to see so many people resonating with my vision. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot to me. So, question, what exactly is a high impact professional? Type in your guesses. What does it actually mean? What's a high impact professional mean to you? Type it into the chat, whatever it means to you. I'll take a sip of water while I wait to see. Anne has typed, I'm so glad to be part of your vision, Jamie. Anne's one of our certified clarity coaches, and she's actually a certified advanced clarity coach, and she's doing profound work with her clients. And I'll tell you her story, actually. I'll try and tell it quick, but it's such a great story, but I'll not tell it yet. I'll tell it in a little bit. So what exactly is a high impact professional? Here's my definition of it. Oops, here's my definition with the wrong words on the slide. A high impact professional is someone who earns their living having a transformational impact in their clients' lives. So that's it. You get paid for the difference you make in your client's life. And here's the thing, it's got to be a difference that your client values. So the two pieces I really want to zoom in on with you here is it's someone who earns their living. So not just having chat with people, you earn your living having a transformational impact in your clients' lives. That's what a high impact professional is. Whatever form that takes. For one person, it might be coaching. For someone else, it might be consulting. For someone else, it might be healing work. For someone else, it might be being a doctor. A doctor is a great example of a high impact professional. They're doing work that has an amazing difference in people's lives. So I love the answers that are coming in. These are great. So there are changing market conditions that have high impact professionals. Man, I'm just seeing all the errors in my slides here. I hope you'll forgive the errors in my slides, but I am planning is not my strong point. There are changing market conditions that have high impact professionals in super high demand and set to go even higher. So the changing market conditions are these. Number one, everything we saw about the lockdowns as the response to coronavirus have had a massive impact because, first of all, they've had a whole bunch of people who have questioned what they're doing with their lives. They're like, they've realized that, you know, the model for life and work and everything that they've been sold, it ain't going to cut it. So people are reevaluating their priorities. Secondly, lockdown moved us into the metaverse more powerfully than anything else has. You know, in over 20 years, people were trying to get people to work from, companies were trying to get people to work from home and that sort of thing. It all happened in just a matter of months. So it's had a huge impact. Udemy, the online education academy, had a 400% increase in enrollment. So there's a huge surge in coaching and interest in that. But also that happens at a time when artificial intelligence and robotics and computerization are getting rid of many, many traditional jobs. So what we're finding is that institutional jobs are getting eliminated. So things like accountants, bookkeepers, auditors, retail salespeople. Like, think about all the shops that closed because of the lockdown and that could be replaced by Amazon. which doesn't require retail salespeople because computerization. So computerization means that the jobs that are most that are the least vulnerable to computerization and AI and robotics is things like recreational therapists, mental health workers, occupational therapists, coaches, psychologists, change workers, basically people who want to make a difference to others. The very field that we're interested in is the one that's favored because of these changes in society. But the other thing is, we're seeing it reflected. Like 1 billion women joined the global economy between 2018 and 2020 as entrepreneurs or employees. A 2016 study found the global coaching economy was over $2 billion and was growing. Like, it's way bigger than that now. The global wellness economy is worth nearly $4 trillion with complementary alternative medicine and fitness and so on, relating to $750 billion. It's an amazing amount of income. But here's the one I really wanted to share with you guys. Research shows that purpose-oriented professionals are far more likely to be high performers with strong levels of engagement. So let me ask you this. In terms of the work you want to do, making a difference to others, type the word purpose into the chat if that's something that like motivates you and that has you wanting to move forward and reach out to people and all that sort of stuff. Type purpose, because it's my assertion to you, but test it for yourself. It's my assertion to you that high impact professionals are almost always purpose oriented. And so you have an extra kind of benefit when it comes to growing your business and reaching clients. Okay, lots of people typing purpose in. Keep them coming because I want to see that. I really want to see that happening. So that's why the market conditions are amazing for this. So how do you earn a great living as a high impact professional and make a big difference in a way that's authentic and natural for you and your client? That's the thing. How do you earn a great living as a high impact professional and make a big difference in a way that's authentic and natural to your client? Well, I'm going to suggest that it's a process of genuine transformation. That picture, the picture on the left, is me like in 1999. Okay, so that's like 22 years ago, 23 years ago. That's me on the right. So I'm the one with the green tie on in the picture on the left. I've been through a process of transformation. If you'd have said to me back then, when I was working as a software project manager back in 1999, if you'd have said to me that I was going to be on TV, going out live on Sky Breaking News to 5 million people, if you'd have told me I'd be a best-selling author, that if you'd have told me I would be doing this, I was afraid of public speaking back then. I was terrified if I had to stand up in front of a group. Now I love doing it because I've been through a process of genuine transformation. So again, my question was, how do you earn a great living as a high impact professional and make a big difference in a way that's authentic and natural for you and your client? The answer is a process of genuine transformation. It's a transformation. And the reason I like the butterfly as a metaphor for transformation is because, you know, the butterfly, it really goes through a transformation. Like, it goes into a caterpillar, creates a cocoon, and then the caterpillar's body dissolves and a butterfly emerges from it. Well, that's an amazing transformation. And we see the beautiful butterfly, but we don't tend to think about what it's gone through to get there. Similarly, when you just take a moment and picture a coach or a trainer or an author or a speaker who you really admire, like get this person's face in your mind. That person, you probably are aware of the external stuff they do, whether it's talks or writing books or doing master classes or doing podcasts or whatever it is they do, speaking at events. You're aware, maybe you see them on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. So you're aware of the external stuff they do. But what you don't see is the transformation they've been through to do that. And so what I'm going to suggest is that the process of transformation has 3 phases when it comes to becoming a high impact professional. The first phase is what I call grounding and mindset. And that really is the foundation for everything that sits on top of it. The next phase is impact. It's about the difference that you can make to your client. And then the final phase is livelihood. It's the whole professional piece of business building and business skills and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about what I call the 6 client model for high impact professionals. And we're going to cover this in terms of those 3 transformations: grounding, impact, and livelihood, and 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are trusted advisor status, a viable business model, the ability to deliver the goods, and clarity on your client's investment. So that's what we're going to go through next. I'm just going to take a sip of water. So, man, I'm going as fast as I can, by the way. Let's look at pillar 1, developing trusted advisor status. Now, this is really, really important, because if you stop and think about it for a moment, if someone's going to hire you as a coach, they need to know you and like you and trust you. So you need to be, well, I'll take you through some of the points to that. What do I mean by that? A coaching business or a consulting business, basically a high impact professional business, is built on real relationships, genuine, authentic relationships. And to have those relationships, you need to be able to have 3 conversations with people. The first conversation is, you need to have a conversation where you find out what they want. Okay, what is it that they want? What's the transformation that they want? The second conversation you need to be able to have is a conversation where you enroll them, where you sign them up to work with you. The third conversation you need to have is the conversation where you create the transformation, the high impact conversation itself. So you've got to become a master of all 3 of those conversations. And those relationships are built in the course of those conversations. So either you're building knowing and liking and trusting, basically long-term relationships based on knowing and liking and trusting, or you're in the commodity business. And you don't want to, if you want to be a high impact professional, you don't want people to see your coaching as a commodity. But I see a lot of that, people charging like 60 pounds an hour, 100 pounds an hour, or even a couple of £100 an hour. It's like they're presenting themselves as a commodity. And the key to developing trusted advisor status, you need to have your client's best interests at heart. Okay. You need to genuinely be putting their interests ahead of your own. You need to carry your ability in those conversations through the questions you ask, through the way you come across to your clients. And here's the other thing I wanted to mention with that. Your clients are going to be a mirror for you and what you've got going on. So I'll give you some examples of this. Kai Jordan, when he first started working, he's one of our clarity coaches. When he first started working with us, he had a bunch of clients, or bunch of almost clients, people who he was in conversation with, but they hadn't pulled the trigger. They were like, yeah, not quite ready, that sort of thing. When he started working with me, he picked up something about how I was being with clients, an authenticity and a comfort and a willingness to ask hard questions. And he brought that into his practice. Boom. People started signing up with him. In the first 3 months that I worked with Kai, he generated $80,000 in new contracts. So $80,000 in sales from people who hadn't pulled the trigger before that. Well, they had been a mirror for Kai, because he was holding back, they were holding back. As soon as he stepped forward, they stepped forward. So if you've got clients who are basically trying to nickel and dime you and undercut you on price, or aren't willing to commit, or aren't willing to invest in themselves, you might want to consider the possibility that they're being a mirror for something in you. Another example is Nicola Arnott. Nicola is a mother with a number of young children, and she homeschools them. And so she was only able to build her practice in a relatively small period of time each week. And when we first started working with her, she'd been having lots of powerful conversations with people for free, but that weren't turning into coaching clients. So if you've been having powerful conversations with people, but they're not paying you anything, and somehow they're not turning into clients, type powerful into the chat. Because I see so many you're among friends here. You can let us know. I see so many coaches trying to impress clients with their conversations instead of actually developing trusted advisor relationships and giving them real value. So they're trying to serve the hell out of them, and they end up with lots of free client conversations, but none of them converting. So that was what was going on for Nicola. She started working with us literally within 2 weeks. First, one person signed up with her, then someone else signed up with her, then another. So literally within a week or 2 weeks, she signed up 3 clients after literally months and months and months of having these free, powerful conversations. She saw something for herself where where the impact came from with clients. Her mind cleared, and so she could really be present with her clients instead of having a head full of tools and techniques. And again, you're among friends. If you kind of, when you're sitting down with a prospective client, if your head is all filled of tools and techniques, like what technique should I use and that sort of thing, type tools and techniques, because that stuff, that's going to get in your way. It's much, much simpler than that. Another example is Ann Bridges, who's here with us tonight. Ann, when I first met Ann, she was working as a nurse, and so Ann's also one of our clarity coaches. She's an advanced coach. She got a job offer, and the job offer she got was to coach, to basically do oh, my brain is not working right today. I'll get it sorted. Click. It was to do fertility coaching with people. So she was literally getting paid to work 2 or 3 days a week. Let me know which was it. And 2 or 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week in a fertility clinic to coach people around fertility. So literally for a couple of years, she's literally getting a salary job to coach people every single week, developing her coaching skills. So yeah, she's a senior emotional coach on an international fertility coaching program. So she developed all these skills. Then she decided, you know what? I want to build my private practice. So she starts enrolling clients. I think it was probably about a year ago, she did her first one-to-one multi-day coaching intensive with a client. Basically took the client out to a beautiful location by the beach. Anne is in Australia, so the weather is beautiful. And she worked with this client for several days. The client paid her, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the amount. And if you're okay saying it, type it into the chat, how much she paid you for that 3 days. But if I remember correctly, Anne has since done intensive with other clients. Now, Anne is a great example of a high impact professional following her own wisdom. The other person there is Pete Bryceland. Pete's another of our clarity coaches. When I first met him, Pete, $5,000. When I first met Pete, he had made less than 20,000 pounds in the previous year. Now, he was a very skilled coach, right? He was really good at the stuff, but he didn't really understand the business side of it fully. And he felt really uncomfortable about charging and quoting prices and that sort of thing. So he started working with us, and he had some insights around money and pricing and charging. Literally, in the next 3 weeks, he signed up 2 clients, each worth 10,000 pounds. He made more money in the next 3 weeks than he made in the whole previous year, which completely shifted his mindset around money and what was possible. I interviewed Pete a couple of years later. He said, these days, if I want more money, I just go out and get some. Like, it had just become very, very neutral to him. So I want to ask you a question. And the question is this: if I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of trusted advisor relationships you'd have in place? Just take a moment to reflect on that. Maybe type your answers into the chat. I'd love to see what you come up with. So I'll ask the question again. If I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now or 12 months from now, and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, or your consulting business, your high impact professional practice the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of trusted advisor relationships you'd have in place? And whether you type it into the chat or you make a personal note, I really, really want you to reflect on that. Now, by the way, I've created a handout called the 6 Client Coaching Model, which is It's a worksheet to help you figure a bunch of this stuff out. So if you want to get a copy of that, just send an email to support@jamiesmart.com and just type worksheet in the subject line, and we'll send that over to you. Also, if you want any information about clarity certification training that I've been mentioning, just mention that and we'll send those details over to you as well. So yeah, if I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now or a year from now, and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of trusted advisor relationships you'd have in place? So that's pillar one. Pillar two, let's go to pillar two. You need a viable business model. And the viable business model I've found for being a high impact professional is high value coaching packages. Whether they're coaching packages or consulting packages or training packages, high value packages are a viable business model. See, I see so many coaches trying to build a business based on, £100 an hour coaching. Well, in fact, I've got an example of it. Christina Cooper there on the right. When I first met Christina, so all the people I'm giving you examples of are our clarity coaches. When I first met Christina Cooper, she was charging £120 an hour. She was a hypnotherapist and she graduated and she just hated it. The whole experience, everything for asking for the payment to getting out the card machine to asking people if they wanted to book another session. She was mortified to do it. She hated it. Within a few months of starting working with us, it's a total game changer. She said, I love enrollment conversations now. They're easy. There's no pressure. She enjoys them. Whole different thing. Because here's the thing, with a high value package, you actually end up selling less because you only need like half a dozen clients. If you've got between 6 and 12 clients, you can have a wonderfully thriving practice because here's the thing, again, it's a relationship model. So you don't want to have to be building 1,000 relationships. You want to have a small number of really close connected relationships with people who know you and like you and trust you. So what they're going to be paying you for is their transformation. And so the coaching package or the consulting package or the training package is something that's focused on giving your client the transformation that they want. And what it means is when you're working in this way, you're more focused on coaching rather than on enrolling. So you spend more of your time and energy coaching the person, which is the stuff you love doing. If you love coaching or doing change work with people, type whatever you call the high impact work you do with people, type it into the chat. Do you call it coaching? Do you call it therapy? Do you call it consulting? Do you call it counseling? Do you call it healing? What do you call the stuff that you do? Type it into the chat. I want to read this stuff because whatever it is that you do, whether it's coaching or training or therapy or healing or change work or transformational coaching or whatever you call it, if you move to this model, you spend more time doing that and less time doing the other stuff. So for Junie, it's coaching. Terry, it's coaching. Jan, it's coaching. Great to see you guys here. Jan and Terry are both on my clarity certification training that's starting in a few weeks, actually. Great to see you guys here. Graham says mental fitness coaching, brilliant. Helen says coaching and mentoring. Paula says, I really struggle with the name because it's not really what I do. It's what they do. Well, that's true, but they don't know that when they first meet you, Paula. So they're going to want you to call it something. Claire says coaching. Anne says, this was a total game changer. Love being a transformational coach. What's the this you're referring to, Anne? Wayne says attitude change. Right on, Wayne. Catherine says coaching. Great. So the powerful thing about what I call the high value package model, and a high value package is basically someone hires you for a period of 3 months or 6 months or 12 months to help them get a specific transformational result, something that they really value. And what this does is it focuses you on renewals and referrals and word of mouth. It stabilizes your income and increases your income. It increases your free time. And here's perhaps one of the most important things. The ability to enroll a client on a high value package is a building block that allows you to build a successful business. Oh, so Anne has said that the package model, moving to this business model, was a game changer for her. If you feel like letting us know why it was a game changer, what it did for you, Anne, just type it into the chat. So So I mentioned Christina, Nick Bettini there. Nick, he's another clarity coach. When he came on clarity certification, Nick, this is a great story for transformation, actually. Nick was working as a music teacher. He was head of music as a school. So he had a job as a music teacher, but he was inspired to be a high impact professional. So he came on my program. He was maybe 2 or 3 months into clarity certification, and he suddenly had an insight, and he realized, oh, I want to take this to the world of music. And so then he was scared. He was like, kind of, who am I to do that? But to his credit, he focused on it and he moved forward. He got support from me and the rest of the group. And he has since published a best-selling book called Just Play. He now coaches rock stars. He coached the Glastonbury headliners either last year or the year before. He's working with music charities. He's using the coaching model, taking it out to the world in so much bigger way. And I'm telling you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that Nick, he was in a situation like I was 20 years ago. I was doing a full-time job. I was scared. I didn't know what was possible, but I had a sense of direction. If you've got a sense of direction, that's enough to take you on this journey. So other people there real quick. Terry Broughton. I was just watching a video of Terry the other day. When I first started working with Terry, she's another of our clarity coaches. She was charging, I think, 60 or 80 pounds an hour. Then she doubled it. Then she's charging 120 or 160. Then she did her first package for a couple of £1,000. Then another package for £5,000. At the time I made the recording, she just enrolled her first £20,000 client. Now, here's the thing. So she's working with that £20,000 client over the course of a year to create a profound change in their life. But you can imagine you don't need very many of those to have a decent living and to really be making a difference to people. Last person I wanted to talk about here, Johannes Metzler. I only met Johannes just over a year ago. He's one of our clarity coaches, started working with us. He had never worked as a coach before. So literally, he hadn't even coached anyone except for people on a course he went on, right? So he was really from a standing start, but he never even went to the charge by the hour model. He went straight to the package model. And he's now built in a year, he's built a really successful coaching business using the package model. I spoke to him the other day. He'd just done his first one-to-one coaching intensive, and he loved it. He loved the impact he was having with his client when he did this multi-day intensive. So I'm telling you this because it's possible to do this. I know it may seem scary at first. I have another client, Sam Jarman. When I first started working with Sam, he was charging like, I don't know, 30 or 40 pounds an hour as a golf pro, basically giving golfing lessons to people. When I told him, you need to move to a high value package model, he's like, Jamie, no one in golf does that. I said, that's even better. You'll be unique. And so he's like, he struggled a bit and that sort of thing, but then he did it. Well, now, several years later, he's got a best-selling book, The 3 Principles of Golf. He works entirely on a package model. He's broadened out into working with other sports people. His income is stabilized. He's making more money. He's got more free time. This stuff works, people. Ann's just said, swapping from time for money and having to re-enroll each time to a package model. Packages are best for both me and my clients. That's what I want you to know. The package is better for your client because it focuses on transformation. If they're paying you by the hour, they're going to try and minimize their exposure. But when they've paid for a package, they try and maximize their transformation. So it's a win-win-win. So I'm going to speed up because, man, I'm still got lots I want to cover with you. Let's quickly look at the business model for this. So how much do you want to earn? And just to make the maths easy, I've said 60,000 pounds, but you can put whatever you want in there. You can put 120,000 pounds. You can put 600,000 pounds. How much do you want to earn? How much do you charge for an hour? And so I put in 100 pounds an hour. How many client hours do you require? Well, to earn 60,000 pounds at 100 pounds an hour, you need 600 hours. What's a decent package price? Well, 5,000 pounds for 6 months. How many client packages do you require? For instance, 12. 12 times 5,000 is 60,000. How many client relationships? Between 6 and 12 client relationships. If people just see you for 1 6-month period, then you need 12 people paying you 5,000. If they renew, then you only need 6 people. Progressive head. Oh, is that Debs? Says packages are so much better for both the client and I. I love it. So, by the way, if you want a worksheet that'll take you through that model, I've got a thing called the 6 Client Coaching Model Checklist. There's a worksheet to help you calculate your coaching business income model or your high impact professional business model. It's got other stuff of how to identify the clients you want to work with and that sort of thing. So, to get your 6 Client Coaching Model Checklist, just pop us an email on support@jamiesmart.com. That's support@jamiesmart.com. And we'll email that over to you probably tomorrow sometime. But it's really, really useful. It's only 4 pages long, but there's a lot of value and experience packed into those 4 pages. And I just wanted to show you something, because a lot of times when people are working in corporate or doing another job, funnily enough, I was speaking to someone yesterday who's got a corporate job, but they've got a side hustle of coaching on the side. A lot of times people ask, can I do coaching as a side hustle? And yes, you can. And I know because I have a side hustle. You see, my main business, Clarity Academy Limited, that's a training business, but my side hustle is my coaching business. And so that's just showing you the period we've done accounts for, which is from July 2018 to July 2020. And over that 2-year period, my side hustle, which only has a maximum of 6 clients in it, generated £207,000. Now, I'm not suggesting that in your first year, you're going to generate £200,000, but even if you generate, £30,000 or £60,000 or £70,000, it's a really, really powerful way of working, because you're getting well paid to do truly transformational work with people. So I just wanted to show you that, to kind of give you the proof that it's absolutely possible. So cheesy coaching question number 2. If I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of high value coaching packages you'd have in place? Just make a note of it, type it into the chat if you want to. What kind of packages in terms of time scale, in terms of price, in terms of impact you're making? So I'll ask the question again. If I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, or your consulting business or your training business, what are the kinds of high value coaching packages you'd have in place? So that gets us to pillar number 3. And this one is a game changer for so many coaches. I can't tell you how many coaches don't know this. Not just coaches, consultants, change workers. This is a game changer. You got to clarify what clients will invest in, their dream come true result. Now, here's the thing. This is what I call the trusted advisor matrix. So it includes 2 things. The first one is you got to develop a trusted advisor relationship. Like I said at the beginning, people aren't going to hire you as a high impact professional until they know you and they like you and trust you. So you got to have that relationship in place, and you build that relationship through conversations. 3 kinds of conversations. The conversation where you find out what their dream come true result is, the conversation where you enroll them, and the conversation where you have a transformational impact in your life. You need to become a master of those 3 conversations. And every high impact professional who's making a decent living and having a big impact in their clients' lives is a master of those 3 conversations. So as you think about those 3 conversations, finding out exactly what your client wants, what their dream come true result is, having an enrollment conversation with them where they sign up with you, and having an impact conversation where you make a big difference in their lives. How many of those 3 are you already a master of? Type it into the chat. Is it 1, 2, 3, or none? How many of those 3 conversations are you already a master at? And by a master, I mean you love doing them, you're really good at it, you are able to get the result again and again and again. Type the number in the chat. Be honest with me. I want to know. We're all friends here. Please let me know how many of those 3 conversations are you already a master at, or already good at, like that you're comfortable with. So the 2 things you need before someone will sign up with you as a client, they need to know you and like you and trust you. You need to have that relationship in place, and they've got to be present to their dream come true result, some perceived need or want or desire, some change they want to make, some problem they want to solve, some goal they want to achieve, some transformation they want to go through. They're not going to enroll with you as a coach, as a therapist, as a change worker, as a facilitator, as a trainer until they're present to that dream come true result. So the kinds of questions I'll be asking my client is like, what would you, I'll give you an example. I literally asked someone this question today. They were asking about my clarity certification training, and they said, I'm trying to figure out whether the training's right for me. Do you think it's right for me, Jamie? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's find out. I said, when people go through this program, often they say to me at the end of the program, that was the best decision I ever made. Coming on that program was the best decision I ever made. I said, that's what I said to the client. I said, so let's say you and me met up 12 months from now. I said, hey, how you doing? And you said, oh, I'm great. Coming on your program was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I went, no kidding. How come? What's happened that's let you know that it's the best decision you ever made? Well, the client then starts telling me, well, this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. Well, they're starting to give me information about their dream come true result. And then I go further with it. I say, oh, well, what would that give you that you wouldn't otherwise have? And they tell me, I go, what would that make possible for you? Like, I'm finding out all about it because I'm enrolling them in a bigger vision for their lives. That's what, when you're enrolling someone as a client, you're not just enrolling them in your business, you're enrolling them in a bigger vision for their own lives, in what they want to create. So that's what the art of eliciting the dream come true result is. So it's about their results. They don't pay you for your certificate or your haircut or your great skills. What they're investing in is their result. The dream come true result is absolutely crucial. The other thing that's crucial is you need to fall in love with the enrollment conversation, because if you don't enjoy the enrollment conversation, speaking to you as a coach, if you don't enjoy the enrollment conversation, your client's not going to enjoy the enrollment conversation. If you feel uncomfortable in the enrollment conversation, your client's going to feel uncomfortable in the enrollment conversation. If you feel anxious or worried or bothered in the enrollment conversation, your client's going to feel anxious or worried or bothered in the enrollment conversation, and then they're not going to sign up with you. So you need to do whatever it takes to get so that you fall in love with the enrollment conversation. And I should know, I used to hate having enrollment conversations because I didn't know these crucial things. I didn't know that it's all about relationship. I thought it was about trying to get something from your client, but it isn't. It's about giving something to them. And shifting that is why grounding and mindset is so important. It's why it's where we start in all my programs, because you need to get so that it feels great to be you in an enrollment conversation. Now, I would love it if you would just let me know, just type into the chat, how do you currently relate to enrollment conversations? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or are you a bit of both? Are you ambivalent? Just type love, hate, or indifferent, or whatever it is for you. How do you relate to enrollment conversations? I really want to know, because what I find for most people when they first start out, they don't enjoy them. And one of the things I absolutely love is helping you fall in love with those enrollment conversations. So Progressive Head says, I love them. I want more of them. The picture's tiny on the screen, but I think that's Debs Bamford. Is that you, Debs? Let me know. Debs started working with us about 3 months ago. Oh gosh, maybe it was even 6 months ago. Time flies when you're having fun. So the focus is their results, and your client is going to pick up on your come from. So you need to be in a good feeling. Like you're feeling for the enroll. So it is Debs. Right on, Debs. Great to see you here. You're feeling in the enrollment conversation. Your client's going to pick up on that. And if you stop and think about it for a moment, the enrollment conversation is your client's chance to take you for a test drive as a coach, as a trainer, as a consultant. I worked with Paula a couple of years ago. Paula says definitely okay with actually having enrollment conversations. I don't have time to go through the hidden reasons tonight, but if you watch my previous video on the 6 client coaching model, you'll see I cover the hidden reasons in that, but we're running out of time. I'm talking too much. So cheesy coaching question. If I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of enrollment conversations you'd be having with clients? Hey, I've just realized I didn't tell you my case studies. I'm going to go back. Russell, okay, real fast. Russell Davis, when I met him, he was working as a fertility coach. This will blow your mind, actually. So Russell was working as a fertility coach, charging not very much money. And I said to him, why don't you double your fees? And he's like, oh, I couldn't do that. My clients can't afford it and all this stuff. I said, hang on a second. What are you working with them on? He said, fertility. I said, have these people done in vitro fertilization? Have they tried that? He said, oh, yeah, they've all tried that. I said, no kidding. I said, how much have they spent on in vitro fertilization? He said, oh, anywhere from like 6,000 pounds to 40,000 pounds. They've spent huge amounts of money on that. I said, and has it worked? He said, no. I said, does what you do work? He said, yeah. I said, how much are you charging? And it was like a few £100s. I said, man, put your fees up. And it was like a game changer for him because he suddenly realized he'd been charging for his time instead of focusing on what his clients wanted. So Russell's one of our clarity coaches. He's now working with those clients, but also with business owners and working on a package model. Total game changer. Marie's another one. When I first started working with Marie, she was just struggling to find clients and struggling to basically to negotiate with. She works with young people. She's a best-selling author. I've got her book here, actually. She works with young people, but she really hated having conversations with parents. Well, of course, if you're working with young people, the parents are the client. So I worked with Marie and she kind of overcame those obstacles. Now she loves working with parents and she loves working with young people, and people pick up on the feeling she's in. So she gets almost all of her business by referral, literally by people going, the impact's been so big that they refer them to their friends. So Marie's a great example of a high impact professional. Or Simon Ong. Simon won Coach of the Year here in the UK, either last year, I think it was the year before last. Simon is a business coach. So he works with companies, he's a clarity coach, works with companies like YouTube and Google and that sort of thing. But his whole focus is helping executives get the energy that they need to have to make a bigger difference in their own lives. So that's their dream come true result, focusing on the kind of life that they want to live and that sort of thing. So let's keep going. I'm not going to tell you about Teresa because we haven't got time. So we had the cheesy coaching question. Once again, if you want to get the 6 client coaching model checklist, go to support@jamiesmart.com. Just send an email to support@jamiesmart.com. Just say checklist or worksheet. We'll send it over to you. You'll find it really useful. So pillar 4, and this is the big one, actually. You got to ensure that you can deliver the goods. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Speaking to you as a high impact professional, you need to be clear on what you can promise and what you can't promise. Okay. The thing the client is paying for is their dream come true result and the impact that you bring. But here's the thing. The best thing, well, I'll tell you a quick story. I put up a poll in one of my groups, one of my Facebook groups a couple of years ago. I asked, what's the number one thing that you believe would have the biggest positive impact on your ability to make a difference to your clients? And the number one thing with like 80 votes, more than anything else, was rock solid confidence in my ability to have an impact with my clients. Okay. Bottom of the list with 1 vote from me was rock solid confidence in my client's capacity for resilience, realization, and transformation. See, I'm going to suggest to you that the most valuable thing in terms of your impact with your clients is your own knowing about their capacity for transformation. I give you a great example of this. David Bird, the black and white photo there. David Bird, when he first came to work with me, he was referred by one of our other clarity coaches. David's an advanced clarity coach now. He The reason he came to work with us is he started having clients show up who he didn't know how to help. Okay. And so he realized, oh, you need to take your level of impact to a new level. You've got to develop your ability to have an impact with your clients. More and more, everyone and their brother is announcing themselves on LinkedIn as a coach, but there are relatively few people who can actually have a profound transformational impact in people's lives. So far, I've trained over 300 people in clarity certification, and these folks are able to have a really profound impact. By the way, if you're watching this and you've done clarity certification, say something about the difference you're making in people's lives, because there's an incredible confidence that comes from knowing that you can have a conversation with someone that has their lives changed. So that's what happened for Bertie. Liz Scott, I did a coaching demo with her, funnily enough, when we first met. And in the course of that conversation, she realized so during that coaching conversation, we fell into a connection, and she woke up in that moment to something that's true about human beings and that she saw for a fact within herself. And she realized in that moment that that was the work she wanted to do with clients. So that was the moment she enrolled on clarity certification. She's like, I want to learn how to do that. If you want to, well, let me ask you, do you want to learn how to have that kind of deep transformational impact in your clients' lives and have any client who shows up knowing that you can make a difference to them? Like that's what I love. I still sometimes refer people on or that sort of thing. There might be a coach who's better for them, but knowing that you can make that sort of difference to people is a game changer. And it's about impact, because what I see with so many coaches, when they go into work with someone, it's kind of like their ego is on the line. And so they're trying to impress their client or bust out all the tools they can or throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, rather than allowing that connection and relationship to develop and allowing that source of transformation that's in the client to show up. See, it's about knowing the true source of transformation. It's in the client, and you awaken that by modeling it for them, by bringing it yourself. See, your client's going to pick up on where you're coming from. And that's why when it comes, see, the reason I call this delivering the goods, so many times I'll have coaches come to me and say, because I quite famously, my one-to-one coaching, my entry level for one-to-one coaching is £50,000. So if someone wants to work one-to-one with me, that's £50,000 for a year. And so I'll have coaches come to me and say, well, how do I charge that kind of price for coaching? Or maybe they say, 20,000 or 30,000. They say, I'm a really good coach. How do I charge high value for packages? And I always say the same thing. I say, it's very simple. You need to be able to have a real conversation with your client. And in the course of that conversation, you need to be able to look them in the eye and let them know, I can deliver the goods. I can help you create your dream come true results. I know what I'm doing. I've got what it takes, and I can deliver the goods. I can help you solve your problems and achieve your goals and make the difference that you want to make in your own life. I can deliver the goods. So you need to be able to communicate that to your client. And the coach says to me, well, I'm a really good coach. How do I communicate that to my client? And I always answer the same thing to that as well. I say, well, that's very simple. Once you know you can deliver the goods, your client will know you can deliver the goods. Until you know you can deliver the goods, your client won't know you can deliver the goods. So speaking to you as a coach, the most valuable thing you can do is realize for yourself that you can deliver the goods. So I'm not going to do the rest of the case studies on that page. We don't have time, but actually, I'll do one real quick. Matt Fox there. When I first started working with Matt, he had already trained as a therapist and was seeing clients, but he wasn't sure. He thought there was something about him which meant he couldn't move to a high value coaching package model. Started working with us, and pretty soon he signed up his first client. I think his current client rate is about £5,000 to work with him for 6 months. He's built an ecosystem called Heart of Dad. He works with entrepreneurs who are also dads. And I tell you that because it's possible for you. This is stuff that is absolutely teachable and learnable. So what we're going to do to round off, I'm going to ask this cheesy coaching question. If I could wave a magic wand and it's 6 months from now and you have your coaching business the way you want it to be, what are the kinds of transformational impact you would be having with clients? What kind of difference will you be making in your clients' lives? Like, it's such a beautiful feeling to have your clients call you or send you emails or texts saying, "You've changed my life. You've changed my life." Or the one I told you earlier that I hear a lot, "Coming on this program is the best decision I ever made in my life." I love hearing that. Yeah, I've got all kinds of examples. But yeah, so very quickly before we go to Q&A, 4 actions to become a high impact professional and build a 6-client business in the next 90 days. Action number 1, sketch out your 6-client model. So if you haven't already done it, send an email to support@jamiesmart.com and we'll send you the 6-client coaching model, and sketch out the piece, which is basically looking at just that simple thing. How much do you want to earn? How many packages would you need at what price? Sketch that out. That'll be a big first step. So just do that. Even if you just spend 15 minutes on it, sketch it out. Step 2, become a connoisseur of connection. I want you to become way, way better at listening. See, when it comes to uncovering people's dream come true results, you uncover them through listening. And also, when you listen deeply to people, you find your way into connection with them, and that builds relationship. Step 3, become a master of uncovering dream come true results. You want to become a sleuth for sniffing out what are people's dream come true results. So have those conversations, find out what their dream come true results are. And then step 4, develop packages and make proposals to clients, because your coaching or high impact professional business is built on packages and proposals. So there we are. That's it. It's time for some Q&A. So any questions you have, I'm here till I've answered all your questions or until my voice goes hoarse. So hit me. What questions would you love to have answers to? Just type them into the chat and I'll answer as many of them as I can. I think we had a couple earlier, actually. Let me just scroll through if I can see what they are. Let me see. I saw one about the difference between, so someone asked, is it being recorded? Yes, it is. So you can rewatch this on YouTube. Oh, Tivo asked, what's the relationship of transformation to mastery? I'll tell you how it looks to me, Tivo. Transformation is something natural that happens when people have insights. When people have insights, their lives transform. Mastery is when it comes to anything that is responsive to practice. So the mastery curve, first brought to me from George Leonard's book, Mastery. Basically, if you've got a skill, whether it's riding a bike or having enrollment conversations or driving a car or anything like that, it goes on a mastery curve. So you spend a lot of time practicing and trying things out and that sort of thing. And then every now and then you have a jump in your level of mastery. Well, that jump in your level of mastery always comes from an insight. So that jump in your level of mastery is a mini transformation, you could say. You know, it's funny. I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the beginning of, I can't even remember if it was last year, but the year before. And when I first started out, I was terrible at it. But you go, you practice, you keep showing up, you come, you get on the mats, you do the stuff, and you take jumps in levels of competency. Well, that's the mastery curve. And each of those jumps is a mini transformation. The process of transformation can happen outside of the mastery curve. So there are lots of transformations people go through that purely come through insight. So that's the relationship I see. So Deb's asked, are the questions you ask, for instance, how much do you want to earn? Are they in the checklist? Yeah, they are. So those questions about what I call the coaching business income calculator. That's in the worksheet. So just go ahead and fill that out. Just go ahead and send us an email to support@jamiesmart.com, and we'll send that over to you. Any other questions? What would you love to know? I got Tivo's question, but I don't know if there are any others. If there's something you want to know, let me know and I'll answer your question. If there isn't, I will call it a day. Oh, the other thing I could do, I could tell, no, I'm not going to tell you any more stories. If you've got questions, ask me and I'll answer them. If you don't have any questions, we'll call it a day and I'll have an early bath. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, let's call it a day. Thank you very, very much for your attention. Once again, if you want to get the 6 client coaching model checklist, pop us an email at support@jamiesmart.com. Similarly, if you want to find out more about the Clarity certification training, what I should tell you is that program is starting at the end of this month. I think it's the 29th of January is the first weekend. It's the last one that I'm doing. So I'm moving to a different phase in my career. I basically now, by the time this Clarity certification training has finished, I'll have trained about 350 Clarity coaches. Now I'm going to turn my attention to building awareness on a much bigger scale for this understanding and leveraging technologies to create new ways of engaging community and that sort of thing. We've got one more question from Paula. Great to see you here, Paula. How do you know what to do when you don't know what to do? Well, that's a great question. And that's a really good talking point as well, Paula. I was talking to a client about this today. So when it comes to my coaching style and the thing we teach and that you learn in the Clarity certification training, my starting point is that the thing that's going to make a difference to your client is going to come from within them. Okay. It's going to come from the source of wisdom and insight that resides at the heart of their being. And so my job as a coach is to help create the conditions for my client to have the insights and realizations that are going to make a difference to them, right? But here's the thing, Paula, I don't know what insights they need to have, okay? And I don't know how to give them an insight. All I know how to do is to create an insight-friendly space. And I do that by listening and feeling my way into a sense of connection with my client and using curiosity as my guide to get their world. So the way I see it, Paula, is that your client, you've heard the old saying, the map is not the territory and the people relate to their map of the world and that sort of thing. Well, your client's map of the world is like a raft that they're floating down the river of life on. And that is their world, that raft, that model of the world, that is their world. That's their reality. And it looks real to them, okay? Like you've seen this, like someone, you're talking to a friend and the friend wants to do something, but they're scared or they don't think they're good enough. And you can see they're good enough. You look at them and you know they could do it, but they are in their model of the world. And in their model of the world, they're not up to it. Well, that's their raft. So what I want to do metaphorically is I want to get on that raft with them. And then I want to find out where the edges are. I want to find out where the edges of their world are. And then when we find the edges, I put an arm around their shoulder and we jump off into the water together. And that water is a space of possibility and wisdom and clarity and love and connection. And when we clamber back onto the raft, it's a different raft. And so, Paula, I actually orient myself to not knowing what to do. I use curiosity to take myself right to the edge of the known and the unknown. So I'm sitting on the edge of that the whole time with my client. I don't know what's going to happen. And I want to model that not knowing for my client. I want to model for them that I am supremely comfortable hanging out and not knowing, because I want them to be too, because that's when they're going to have their insights. So I would go even further, Paula. I would say, How do I know what to do when I don't know what to do? I wait to be guided. And I spend most of my time when I'm coaching not knowing what to do. And that turns out to be the most fun you can have as a coach because it's always an adventure. It's always inspiring. It's always transformative. And what a great question to finish with. Thank you so much, Paula. I I've really enjoyed being here with you guys tonight. It's a great place to finish it. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, rest of your month. If you want the worksheet, it's really good. Just pop us an email on support@jamiesmart.com and we'll email it to you. And if you want to find out more about Clarity Certification, again, pop us an email on support@jamiesmart.com and we'll send you the details. Thanks.